Howdy, folks. Welcome to another edition of Pirate Sports Chat. In fact, the last edition of Pirate Sports Chat. So join us today, our members of the beach and indoor volleyball team. So with us today, Amanda Schuler, Thea Snider, Haley Reid, and Preslee Richelieu. Thank you so much for being a part of our chat today. So Thea, let's start with you. Last year, freshman, coming into one of the toughest positions a freshman can come into. And you dish out 861 assists as a setter, and you help our team to 19 wins, a playoff victory, second round of the playoffs. Tell me a little bit about what that experience was like last year, and tell me maybe some of the lessons you learned that you can carry into 2021.
Well, it was definitely interesting playing like such a big role because we kind of talked about it last week, but I was a little rusty coming into like the setting position. So it involved a lot of learning offensively, and just I hadn't played at a higher level before. So it was really like kind of rising to the occasion and trying to be the best I kind of could. Something that I learned probably about halfway through the season had to do a lot with mindset. That is definitely something I'm going to carry into this next season. Was it wasn't that I had to play, it was that I got to play. And I've been noticing that a lot with this season too, is that like if we get the chance to play, I'm going to make every moment matter and count and push myself as hard as I can, because why go through it and do it if I'm not going to try to be the best that I can be. And that was we had our player Lou, one of our outsides from Italy last year, where she had a knee injury, and she was like, I didn't think I was ever going to play again. And she would just bust it on the court, just trying her very best every single time, because she was like, I don't know when my last time is going to be. And so I've just been really trying to take into that mindset to push myself and like use this to be like a good player. So definitely something I'm going to carry into 21.
Very cool. Yeah, it's definitely this last year we've all learned never to take anything for granted. Jeez Louise, you know, like I will never bitch and complain about having multiple sports in one day ever again. You know, I'll be grateful for the opportunity. So Amanda, your turn now. You came to Coast with a little bit of a different story. You came in as an outside hitter and a middle blocker, and Chuck in his infinite wisdom or insanity moves you over to the right side, you know, and I'm sure it was had some growing curves to deal with it, not only as a freshman, but playing a different position. I can't even imagine doing that. To me, that's like a baseball player who played first base his whole life. Now you're going to play left field all of a sudden. Good luck, you know. So tell us a little bit about what that experience was like, and you know, what are you taking into this time for 2021, especially with the pandemic? What are some of the things you've been able to do to improve your role on the right side?
Yeah, well, like, as I mentioned in the last interview, my experience freshman year at the collegiate level was just frustrating for me. I remember in one practice, I hit the ball so hard that it actually hit the ceiling. It wasn't even like close to the court. Or like another time I kept on like hitting in the net, and Adrian was like, okay, I don't care how hard or how fast you hit the ball, just get it over the net. And so at that point, I was just tipping every single ball that came at me. And that was deflating. Like as an athlete, I'm like, oh, I really want to hit it hard, especially just to get out all the frustration. But, you know, it's a part of learning to adapt to a situation, having to deal with it as an athlete. Now, regarding the pandemic, obviously, it's hard to find the positives within this strained situation, considering the amount of negative news and the whole concept of isolating ourselves from a human interaction until recently. However, I've definitely taken advantage of this time to really focus on myself by learning new skills or trying different activities. As an athlete, I think we kind of have an advantage because mentally we're trained in a way to keep ourselves active and adapt to different environments, and always have this sense of needing to be prepared for something, whether it's for a practice, an upcoming season, or utilizing time management skills to balance academics or work. Luckily for us, we can literally exercise anywhere, outdoors, indoors, with equipment, without equipment. Personally, I've been able to work out for the past 6 months with a coach and get some extra reps in. Granted, we have to wear masks the whole time and social distance, but you gotta have to make sacrifices here. With him, I was actually able to break down every skill from serving, passing, hitting, digging. With this position, I have to understand how to work. With him, because usually the season goes by really fast and we don't always have time to break down every single skill. And unfortunately, that sometimes shows when you play. So it was really great and rare to have that opportunity to really work on that position solely and by myself for a long time and it really helped me stay away from any distractions, just really focused on that game. And so other things I was able to help out or work out with were probably running laps around the track in my local high school, watching YouTube workout videos, and yeah, probably just using Hydro Flask as weights.
I do what you got to do, and any port in a storm. And kudos to you for just overcoming, I guess, some mental frustration. I'm a wannabe golfer, and let's just say there's lots of frustration in that sport as well. So I totally get it. You go on tilt and nothing works. So good for you for figuring it out. That's awesome. So Haley, we'll move on to you and you and Preslee, and you can gloat about your home field, being the fact you guys are the beach volleyball players on this panel. Haley, let's start with you. What is it like just to play at the beach all day long? Geez Louise, what a great gig, and talk about what it's like to be a top-notch beach volleyball player. What does it take? What are some of the skill sets you need that are maybe a little bit different than the indoor sport?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely love playing at the beach. It's been my home forever, and so it's definitely a great place to, have my sport be, and I love it. To be a top level volleyball player definitely takes a lot of physical and mental abilities. You're running and jumping in the sand, and sometimes it's super hot outside, so it definitely takes a lot of physical ability. I remember before games, my coach would always tell us to get the best night of sleep you're ever going to get and wake up and be in a good mood. And I also think that having a good mental state of mind is very important also when you're playing any sport for that matter, just to have a good mindset throughout the game. Also, I think that there's a beauty of it being two people on the sand court instead of having 6 players on an indoor court. You get to really bond with your teammate and strategize where you're going to put the ball next, and I think that's so fun to build that friendship up with just you and your partner on the beach.
That's awesome. You mentioned talking about being in a good mood when before your match. If you go to the beach and you're not in a good mood, you should maybe find a different sport to play. Maybe tennis, backgammon, any of those, bowling, who knows. But no, I get it. That's awesome. Good for you. Now, Preslee, I pass along this question to you. Unfortunately, Chuck's not here with us today to throw in his 2 cents. So you get a free shot at him right here. So tell us a little bit about your experience playing with Chuck. What's he like? We see the madmen on the court during the matches. Throughout all 4 of you, you've told me different variations about Chuck in terms of he's not like that, and most people just see that side of him. Tell us a little bit about the other side of Chuck and what kind of person he is and what are some of the things he's taught you inside and outside of the court.
Yeah, so that's actually one of the things that, like, when you mentioned this question, I was making note, and I am going to say, like, a lot of people only see Chuck in the game setting when stress is high, points are close.
Clipboards are flying.
Clipboards are flying. But very few people, except for the girls on the team, see him in that practice setting or even off the court. And I have absolutely loved playing for him. Of course, in every sport, there's those bad days, bad practices, and bad games. And the frustration shows from a coach's side and from the player side. But all of the things like that I've learned from playing for Chuck is that we don't dwell on that. Yeah, it happened. Yeah, it was a bad day. But you learn from it and you move on and you focus on the moment that's right in front of you. He's super goal-oriented. Before games, he would sit us down, have us really picture out the game in our head, go through plays in our head, and see ourselves doing that on the court. He creates goals for the team as a whole or for you individually. And he really motivates you and encourages you to reach those goals. And he really fights for his players. So it's happened quite a bit. But if a ref had made a bad call, Chuck might throw his clipboard down and get up and he'll argue with the ref because he genuinely believes that was a bad call. And, like, we worked for that point, we deserve that point. And if there's one thing you know for sure with Chuck is that he's going to fight for his team, even if it means he gets a yellow or red card pulled on him. And he's very understanding about like who his athletes are, like the differences in our personalities, our work ethics. And that takes a lot for a coach, because that requires them to get to know you as a person and like what makes you you. And he's genuinely interested in your life outside of sports. Even when we're not in season, I know I can attest for this. He's called me a lot just to see like how I'm doing mental health wise, health, schoolwork, just how my life is going. And then another awesome thing about him is that he communicates. He understands that communication is a two-way street. And with him, it's never been like the coach talks and athlete just needs to listen. He loves to hear like what the player has to say and how you're feeling so he can best help you succeed. And I've said this before, I can go on about Chuck and all the things and qualities he has that makes him a great coach. But I think one of the most important ones for me, at least, is how passionate he is about what he does. And seeing that passion in him really makes it a lot easier as an athlete to come to practice, because you know that your coach is excited to be there and coach you. So it makes you as an athlete want to get better. So it's been
Absolutely.
great.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've known him now for going on almost 30 years now. And quality dude, you know, he's one of those guys. He's organized. I think he expects everyone to be on their game like he is, you know, and that's good. It's good to be pushed like that. I couldn't agree more. So awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Preslee. So one last question to wrap up with everybody. I've asked Haley and Preslee this question before, but I'll ask the indoor girls as well. If you could pick somebody, like a famous volleyball player that you could get on the court with, either watch play or play against or play with, who would it be? There's so many to choose from, especially in this area. You know, I've told people I'm a Newport Harbor kid, and I'm very proud of that. And I've got to hang out, and I've met, you know, some of the best volleyball players around, Misty May, and among others. You know, it's been really cool. So Haley, let's start with you. Who'd be your dream volleyball player?
You know, I said Carrie Walsh in my last interview, and, you know, it would be a dream to play with her. But I think I'm going to change the answer. And even though she's not a famous or pro volleyball player, it would be my sister, because she definitely is, you know, I'm following in her footsteps, and I've always looked up to her, and she's definitely a role model for me. So it would be my sister, Hannah.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about with an older sibling that's a role model. I have no idea. Yeah, so yeah, let's just say that I get that one completely. Amanda, how about yourself?
Yeah, growing up, I didn't watch a lot of volleyball until like my sophomore or junior year in high school. So I actually watched a lot of tennis or a lot of individual sports.
Okay.
So I guess my favorite athletes would have to be like Roger Federer or Serena Williams. I liked Federer because he's very calm and smart and smooth when he plays, and how he handles the pressure and dominates his opponents is just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Serena Williams is totally the opposite. She's very strong. She's confident when she plays, and when she screams after a hard-fought point, the energy just radiates off the screen. So I really gravitated towards people who are not just outstanding players, but players who are not afraid to try new things, play with confidence, think outside the box, and are generally like good-hearted people on and off the court or field.
Very cool. Very cool. Good answer. How about you, Thea? Who do you got?
I actually had a really hard time question when I saw this was on the list, because I've watched a lot of volleyball, but I've never really honed in on a player. If you asked me as a young kid, I probably would have said Carrie Walsh, because she was just always the one on the TV when the Olympics were going on. April Ross is really cool. I remember she said that her arm had gotten hurt, so she was like, I'm going to start hitting with my left one. I was like, that's awesome, you know.
Right.
But I'll probably go to the route Haley kind of went with, someone more personal to me, is I have a coach on the beach, Belinda, and I love to just get out there and play with her. She's a lot older than me, and I'm like, she's like my mom's age. I'm like, when I'm your age, I want to be out there playing, even after I've had kids or anything like that. And she really drives me to continue, and she's very passionate about what she does every single day. And so she's probably my favorite too, because I've had the most interaction with her. And I could throw all these other names at you, and I don't actually know anything about these players, but she's cool.
I love it. I love it. You mentioned April Ross. For those that don't know, what high school did she go to? Newport Harbor High School. So yes, that's very proud of my alum for sure. Last but not least, Preslee, how about you?
Mine would be Misty May Trainer.
Yep.
I've actually gotten the privilege to be coached by her and to actually play on the beach with her a couple times, whether it be Queen of the Court or just a pickup game. She also, watching her as she was playing with Carrie Walsh, the type of player she is, she's very like calm, cool, and collected. And Carrie is very high energy, so they really like balance each other out. And I like playing with someone who is very calm, cool, and collected. But she's also very inspiring. She's played through multiple injuries, and like Thea was saying, April Ross like started hitting with her left shoulder. Misty had played through like a torn abdomen, and she would just stay on the ground and roll balls over. And so I just think that's amazing, like to have that kind of attitude and that drive. And if my partner was like that, it would obviously like motivate me to be more like that. And she's just an awesome player. So
Yeah, it's Newport Harbor blood. I'm telling you, it's amazing how that works. So anyway, tell you what, you guys, thank you so much for being a part of this today. It's been great talking with you all week, and looking forward to seeing you guys in the spring. And thank you so much, Haley, Preslee, Amanda, Thea. All the best to you guys, and looking forward to seeing everyone back on the courts in 2021. We can't wait for it.
yeah.
Well, thanks for having us, Tony.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thanks to everybody, guys. Like I said, this is our last one for the semester. I can't believe we did every single sport. It's been great. Thank you to everyone that's taken a part of this, our coaches, our players. It's been amazing. So again, thank you guys very much. And we'll see you guys back on campus very soon.